Hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Prosperous Womb. Today is day 15 of our journey through wisdom, the book of Proverbs, and it's also day 15 Advent. So happy Advent. And we're almost halfway through our journey. So whether you're joining us for the first time today or you've been with us the last 15 days as we've been moving through this, how is this going for you? What are you experiencing so far on this journey when it comes to wisdom, when it comes to clarity in your life, in your business, in your relationships, in your health, everywhere? How is that this walk with God, this journey of wisdom, how is it shifting how you see things in the world, how you be in the world, and how you do what you do in the world? How is it defining and bolding up your identity, knowing who you are and whose you are and what you're here to do in the world, your assignment? Like, how is it working out in your life? Share with me in the comments below. And today we're going to move forward with chapter 15. And in chapter 15, I call it the book of thinking things through. Think before you say it. And ask yourself, is this going to cut this person down? Is it going to tear her down? Is it going to hurt her? Is it going to break her spirit? Or is it going to motivate her, inspire her, and bless her? What is what you're about to say? How is it going to land? What about it is aligned with the Word of God? You know, when I think about being a mom and how I am with my daughter, sometimes after reprimanding her or having a discussion with her, I'll come back to chapter 15 in Proverbs, and I was saying to myself, wow, how did I respond to her today? This was not aligned with me being in integrity with giving people grace, being in integrity with my commitment to uplift and to inspire, to motivate, to be a blessing in the world. Because we can create impact with our coaching businesses, we can create impact with our money, but the most impact we create is with our words. And impact, charity starts at home. So how we be with ourselves and who we be with people around us goes a big way to determining how we're going to impact the world. We can't be one way, like with our words here and making big things in the world out there. Who are we really being? And chapter 15 teaches us to strive for peace and give grace, and to also give ourselves grace to run this race, all of it, at our own pace. Okay? So how do you leave people? Who are you being in the world? How do you respond when things happen? When my soon-to-be ex-husband walks through the door and says something that triggers me, how do I respond? Do I think, well, Proverbs 15 says, don't cut people down, bless him? Well, you see, usually before he comes in, I've already prayed to God to speak through me with love. Because I learned the difficult way that pushing with words that hurt or tear down don't get us anywhere in a conversation. It hurts me and hurts my daughter. And so I've learned how to wake up in the morning and ask God to speak through me. And I read one chapter in Proverbs every day. And on the 15th day of every month, when I get to chapter 15, I always ask myself, how have I responded in the last 15 days? And how can these next 15 days go better? Those of you who have gone through a divorce understand this, because I'm going through one right now. And it's not always pleasant. You're not always at your best. Sometimes you want to come back with an answer, return that's going to really burn that person and get them. And then you have to stop and use wisdom to get clarity around the big picture and who God is asking you to be in that moment, and what lesson needs to be learned or taught in that moment. Okay? So let's dig into chapter 15. A soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. The tongue of the wise uses knowledge aright, but the mouth of fools pours out foolishness. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life. My parents taught me this growing up. But as soon as I get into a situation that has any conflict in it, I forget. And that's why I keep coming back to the word, because that training my body, training my mind to come back home to wisdom, to come back home to grace, and come back home to start from love. Because that's what creates freedom. We don't get freedom in our businesses because we make money. Freedom is the fertilizer that we use to create the love in the world, the impact in the world, the joy in the world. And that freedom comes from having God's wisdom. So we're not moved by stuff that happens around us because we're standing firm in the word of God. And chapter 15 is here for us because God sees everything, the good and the bad. And a wholesome tongue is a tree of life. Is your mouth a tree of life? Does your mouth build people up? Does your mouth put people down? Is your mouth about gossip? What does your mouth do? When life squeezes you, what comes out of you? When divorce squeezes you, when death squeezes you, when sickness squeezes you, what comes out of you? When a client squeezes you, what comes out of you? Is it life, or is it something that cuts people down? I don't even know what that sound was. Yeah. So let's continue. A fool despises his father's instruction, but he that regards reproof is prudent. So, what our parents taught us, what they told us, all those times they tried to discipline us and get us ready for the world. Let's remember that and come back to the word of God. In the house of the righteous is much treasure, but in the revenues of the wicked is trouble. The lips of the wise disperse knowledge, but the heart of the foolish does not do so. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but the prayer of the upright is his delight. So when we're in our hearts not being true and not walking the right with God, and yet we'll come to church and we'll pour money into the church and we do this and we do that, God doesn't really care for it. He's like, it's an abomination because you're not standing in integrity on my word. The way of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but he that loves him follows after righteousness, seeks his wisdom, honors God. Okay? And remember, it's not about good or bad and right or wrong. That's why Jesus came to save us all. Okay? It's about you. I always tell my daughter this. You never have to worry that I'm not going to love you. You're not good and you're not bad. You're perfect the way you are. No matter what you do, mommy loves you the way God loves her. Because here's the thing, there's nothing you can do that will make me stop loving you. Because of God's always reminded to me that there's nothing I can do that will make him stop loving me. So we're always loved. But the gift is obedience. It will make me happy. It will please my heart for you to do the thing. Not because it's good or bad, but because it brings me joy. And that's how God is. He wants the obedience, not because we're good or bad, but to bring him the joy because he's our Father. And so throughout this journey, when we're reading this, I know it's in the Old Testament, it's not about beating ourselves up with a stick like, oh, I have to be bad. Oh, I'm a sinner. I'm a this. No. Thank God for the righteousness of Christ that makes us righteous. It's about seeking God so much more powerfully in our lives and our businesses that it gives us the grace to stay in obedience and walk in obedience and be more joy and peace and a tree of life in the world. So correction is grievous to him that forsakes the way, and he that hates reproof shall die. Listen to correction. Okay? Hell and destruction are before the Lord. How much more than the hearts of children of men? A scorner loves not one that reproves him, neither will he go to the wise. So one of those things, I know when I was married, when there was conflict in the marriage, I always knew that I wanted a third party. I needed someone who would support us, whether it was my pastor or a relationship therapist or relationship coach. I truly believe in an unbiased third party. And if that person is aligned with the word of God, even better. If they're not, there's still an unbiased third party that can give you the wisdom that you cannot see because you're inside of the bottle. So I believe in seeking support, whether it's therapy, counseling, coaching, whatever it is that brings me to that place, that reminder to come back home to peace and grace. So whatever that is for you, seek the wise counsel. Seek wise counsel. Because we can read the word of God and sometimes we need that support on how to apply it in this particular situation in the heat of the moment. It's great and wonderful to read the Bible at 4 in the morning when nobody's up and you're just sipping a cup of tea and all is well. It's another thing to remember and apply it in the heat of the moment. A merry heart makes a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. The heart of him that has understanding seeks knowledge, but the mouth of fools feed on foolishness. All the days of the afflicted are evil, but he that has a merry heart has a continual feast. It doesn't mean you're always joyful, but you have that peace that passes all understanding. You are not moved by what's going around you because you know who you are, not in your head, but you know in your heart who you are and whose you are and why you're here. And you've filled yourself with the word of God. So when anything squeezes you, tree of life comes out. And people say, you're Pollyanna, tree of life comes out. When people in your family say, so this Bible stuff, what's that about? Or has God given you that $1 million in your business yet? Tree of life comes out, okay? Whatever it is. Or when you send an email out to your email list and somebody replies back and says, I already know all that stuff. Why you send me stuff I already know? Tree of life comes out. Tree of life comes out. And don't fight when you're upset. Don't get on a sales call when you're upset. Get completion around that before you get on that sales call. Try to get completion before the time of the call. Better is little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble therewith. You know, I remember when I was growing up, I was so grateful for my family and for the peace. And I saw all these wealthy people, I guess not wealthy, but rich people with money. And they were not happy. And that's when I started to think that I didn't want money because money made people sad. And I started to grow that belief that, well, at least I'm happy. You know, I'm middle class, but I'm happy. I don't want to be rich and miserable. Not true. Because money is just one part of wealth. Wealth is health and happiness and peace and security and grace and tree of life. And then when you have money, it amplifies that peace, that joy, that security, that tree of life. If you don't have the wealth, money amplifies whatever that emptiness is, that bitterness is. But when you have wealth and then you add money to it, you become a balm, a healing balm in the world. And that's why I'm an advocate for high ticket profit explosion, because the more money you make when you are a woman with a heart of gold, when you're a Proverbs 31 woman, when you're a wise woman, the better the world is because you have more money to your wealth. The better your children are, the better the world is, the better your community are, the better your clients are. So stand for your freedom, stand for your peace, and stand for your wealth and money to amplify that wealth. A wise man makes glad his father, but a foolish man despises his mother. Folly is joy to him that is destitute of wisdom, but a man of understanding walks upright. Again, just be in integrity. Just walk in peace, okay? Walk in peace, walk in peace, walk in peace. Think it through. Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in a multitude of counselors they are established. I'm a big fan of seeking wise counsel. I just am. A man has joy by the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season, how good it is. Did you guys notice that I've never seen an exclamation point. I'm sure maybe there are some in the Bible. This is the first time I've noticed the exclamation point. It says, a man hath joy in the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken is italicized in due season. How good it is, exclamation point. When I was a teenager, and I wasn't a teenager, I was 13, 14, 15. And the doctors found the first of many lumps in my body. And I thought I was going to die of cancer. And I came to America and I've had surgery after surgery after surgery. And I love good news. So when I had my first mammogram at 14 because of these issues, hormonal imbalance issues. And I remember after many, many surgeries, the doctor, I had a mammogram and I had an ultrasound. And usually there's this mixed result and I have to go for more testing. And is it malignant now? Is it benign? Like what's going on? What's happening? Is it back? What's going on? And I remember the doctor said, give me good news right now. And she said, there's no evidence of cancer. And it reminded me of this verse where it was like, a word spoken in due season, how good it is. So I don't know, in your business, in your health, in your life, where you've been waiting for good news, And it comes, there's nothing better in that moment than hearing that news. Like somebody's, a friend called me the other day because a family member had been rushed to the hospital for some tests because they thought they saw something on the screen that could be really bad. And I remember when she got the good news that there was nothing, it was just a false alarm, how happy she was. Good news in due season can change a life. Can change a life. Okay. The way of life is above to the wise, that he may depart from hell beneath. The Lord will destroy the house of the proud, but he will establish the border of the widow. The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Lord, but the words of the pure are pleasant words. Oh, it's so amazing. I had a friend, Shaquan, in undergrad, who everything that came out of her mouth was so pleasant. There was no judgment, no condemnation. And she would talk to me about Jesus. At the time, I knew Jesus. I was a Christian. I was checking the Christian box, but I was more of the religious Christian where I would go to church and do all the things, cross all the T's, dot all the I's, but I was really not walking in the Word of God. And she would just talk to me, and I remember thinking, when I grow up, I want to be like you. I want to have this much blessing pouring out of my mouth. I want to have this much honey dripping on people's lives. It was the most beautiful thing. And when I finally decided to walk with God, when I finally decided to just accept his grace and just let him be through me, I said, thank you, Shaquan. Thank you, God, for sending me Shaquan, because but for her, God would have been heavy to me. It's because of her that I have a spiritual relationship and not a religious relationship with God. So your words, how do they leave people? How do they leave people? He that is greedy of gain troubles his own house, but he that hates gifts shall live. The heart of the righteous studies to answer, but the mouth of the wicked pours out evil things. Think before you speak. Think it through, whether it's your business, your clients, whatever it is, your husband, your child, whatever you're about to say is a seed that you're planting. So think it through before you say, because when you think it through out loud, it doesn't sound so good, does it? Then you're able to make a shift and pivot and sow the seed that you really want to sow from God's heart. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he hears the prayer of the righteous. The light of the eyes rejoices the heart, and a good report makes the bones fat. It does. When the doctor gives, yes, it does. I'm still here, praise God. Healthy and well. The ear that hears the reproof of life abides among the wise. He that refuses instruction despises his own soul, but he that hears reproof gets understanding. The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. Love God, honor God, think things through. Let me look at my notes. This is the wisdom to be. Don't fight when you're upset. Learn from this journey and grow through it. Learn from it and grow through it. Don't cut people down. Focus on your tongues and your words, what's coming out of your mouth. When life squeezes you, what comes out? It depends on what you put in it. What you put inside will come out. So what are you putting inside? Wisdom, God's wisdom, the book of Proverbs, love. What are you putting inside of you? How do you respond? How you do what you do, and how you be when you do it affects everyone in your life. Your clients, your colleagues, your children, your husband, your family, just everyone, your friends. How you be, who you be, and the word you be in the world makes all the difference and makes all the impact in the world. Let me know how this lands for you. It's been good having you. This journey is my testimony of life. For every doctor that said I wouldn't make it past 15 or 16 or whatever that was, this is my testimony that I'm sharing with you. Share your testimonies below and let me know the good word you've had in good season, and not just the good word, but how Proverbs 15 is going to play a role in your life, in your family, with your children, your business, your clients, your sales calls, wherever in life. It's been good having you.